Hi, everybody. Welcome to Timeout with Tackle What's Next. We are so excited to be back with you for another week. I am your host, Danielle Berman, and I am the founder of Tackle What's Next. I'm excited to join you all live every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Instagram to chat with athletes and executives about how they've used the lessons sport has taught them to create opportunities in life after the game. And today we are talking to Krystal Beachum. Krystal is the founder of Student Athletes Unite. She's works with athletes in collegiate settings to create business and career opportunities. And her team works to educate and inspire those collegiate athletes to create entrepreneurial ventures and connect them to opportunities with top companies and organizations. Krystal's a published author. Her book, The Other 98%, is the ultimate guide for student athletes to go pro in entrepreneurship. We featured that in our summer reading list in our newsletter. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. We're going to recap all of our summer reading books list this year just to make sure you guys don't miss them. So please make sure to sign up and get more info on that. Krystal has also begun working with the W Fund as a VC in residence, and she is working with them to connect underestimated founders and communities that may not have typically had access to VC funding to fuel a more powerful and representative future for the world. And Krystal, on top of all that, is a former student athlete. She graduated from Henderson State University in Arkansas, where she played women's basketball, and she went to get her master's in recreation and sport management from the University of Arkansas. And I am going to bring Krystal on right now. You hear Krystal? Great.
Yay.
All right, let me take this question off. I'm not sure how to get rid of it. There we go. Now
Awesome.
How's it going?
Good. Let me see if I can move this down because awesome.
There you are.
Go. Awesome. But
Yes.
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's great to catch up. It's been a little while. How's the summer been going? I guess we're still in quarantine. I don't really know. So
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's going good. As you know, I moved back to DC, so I know when outside opens back up, we definitely have to reconnect. But other than that, it's been good. Just trying to figure out life, trying to figure out what's next for my company and like how to better impact student athletes.
Yeah, so because of all this news, especially last week with schools canceling programming, like have you guys pivoted at all? Have you changed any of your programming in the last couple months, just given all the turmoil?
Yeah, so usually I launch about 3 times a year. So I launch in the fall, in the spring, and in the summer. I did not launch in the spring or the fall. The spring or the summer because again, like I just feel like student athletes need more from me. And so I've been able to provide like different services, but also keeping communication with them and just being there for them outside of like entrepreneurship, I guess, in a way, but still providing content, still providing like one-on-one services like pro bono just to help student athletes during this time. But other than that, I think the only thing that has been different is the speaking engagements. Like I can do the speaking engagements from the comfort of my own home. It's been pretty fun. Still getting paid for those, so that's pretty cool. But other than that, that's the only thing I've been able to, I guess, pivot and change. So right now I'm preparing for my upcoming launch in the fall, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so tell everyone that might not be familiar with like what Student Athletes Unite does. What is the launch? What does it entail? And if they are interested in learning more, how can they get involved?
Yeah, for sure. So we do 2 things. We help them create business and career opportunities. One is through an online accelerator program. It's a 5-week program in which we teach student athletes how to create a business, stay eligible, but also explore entrepreneurship as a career. Because again, as you know, that entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, but for the people that do take it on, it is an amazing journey and just something that I've been able to do. And I feel like other student athletes have done it as well after me, and they have lived successful lives after sports in a way. And so I'm like, okay, well, if other student athletes are doing it, I know like other student athletes of this generation can do it as well. But as far as the launch is going to be fall, but I'm actually looking at the dates now to see what will be the best time. And to learn more, just like go on my Instagram where you can see Krystal Beachum and you'll see like the website and how you can join the wait list because it's not open for enrollment right now.
Got it. No, that's awesome. And I think you hit on a great point is entrepreneurship is absolutely not for everyone, and that's okay. Not everyone needs to be building their business. So I wanted to talk about how you decided that you wanted to be an entrepreneur. What was your motivation in terms of, oh, I want to start Student Athletes Unite and I want to help other athletes explore this awesome journey that is entrepreneurship?
Right. First, I did start a business in college, so that was kind of like my first, like, oh, like this is pretty fun. Like, oh, I can work this on my own schedule. Like, oh, I've been learning like how to better communicate with people and how to better read people based on like their different personalities, and so that's kind of like how I first sparked my interest. And I'm like, oh, so I can do it. And the other student athletes can do it as well. And then I went to the University of Arkansas, and I saw other student athletes wanting to create businesses, but they didn't have those resources. And
Mm.
so I'm like, okay, well, this is the Division 1 school. They have all these access to these resources and different like programming. Why aren't they doing this stuff for their student athletes? And so that kind of again sparked my mind. I'm like, okay, well, I need to start this because if no one else is going to do it, I might as well do it. Coming from my background, me being an
Yeah.
advocate for student athletes, so like, well, it has to come from me if it doesn't come from anybody else. And so that was one of the
Yeah.
reasons why I started Student Athletes Unite.
That's great. And you mentioned being a student athlete was a big experience and just kind of relating tool to the clients that you have now. So let's go back a little bit. What was your first sports experience? How did you choose basketball and work up to that collegiate career? What was that experience like?
Right. So actually, I started out as a cheerleader, which is
Okay, I
crazy.
cheerleaded
My brothers played sports. They were on the football team, and so it only made sense for me to be a cheerleader. I went to practice when they went to practice. I went to games when they went to games. But I got into basketball around the age of 9. My really good friend, her name is Jasmine. She wanted my dad to coach her, and so my dad coached like all the teams in the area. And he said, I'm not coaching the girls' team if my daughter isn't playing. So
to.
she begged me every day almost, like in the 5th grade, was like, Krystal, you should play. And I'm like, no, I shouldn't, because I was a girl that always was underneath the bleachers reading a book. And so she's like, Krystal, your dad will not coach me if you do not play. And I was like, okay, well, let me go ahead and give it a shot. I don't have anything else to lose. So I kind of credit my success to her, because if she wouldn't have never kind of gave me that push or begged me, then it would have never happened.
I love that. It's like, you need that force in life to be like, come
Mm-hmm.
on, come on. Finally, you're like, okay, I'll do it. And then you're
Yes.
like, whoa.
You're like,
Oh
oh,
my
I
gosh,
still
this is
suck,
great.
but it's kind of fun. Like,
Yeah. I love that. That's such a great story. And I feel like obviously it opened a lot of doors for you just playing
yes.
basketball and being able to play in college. So, what impacted playing sports in general, whether it was basketball, cheerleading, anything else that you did? What impact did it make on who you are today?
Yeah, so what's crazy, I played basketball, and then of course my friends convinced me to play volleyball. Then I got really good at volleyball, and then I ran track. So all of those things shaped me to who I am today. It taught me, of course, adaptability, because you have to again adapt to different sports. You have to adapt to different teammates. You have to adapt to different coaches. But also like the grit that you have, the routine. I feel like I'm a lover of routine, and even within my own journey, I have a routine. Like I focus on routine. I had a conversation with a student athlete, and she was like, people tell me all the time, like, you're just so like, I'm doing this at this time, I'm doing this at this time, I'm doing this at this time. And I was like, well, we're trained to do that as student athletes. Like, everything is a routine. And so when you
Hmm.
get out of that, you don't know what to do, because I know, like,
Yeah.
I have to do something. And I said, it's not a bad thing. That's just who you are. And that's how you've been trained to be. So either you continue and make your own routine now because no one else is like telling you what to do, or you just may spiral and you got to figure out how to like get back on track. And so that's what I've learned about my experience as a student athlete in the last few years.
Yeah, I think that's a great point of athletes just have this natural routine that comes with training and practice, and especially student athletes, you got to squeeze school and classes and homework in
Yes.
there. So you got
Yes.
to stick to that routine or else you're just going to lose your mind with everything you
Mm-hmm.
have going on.
Yes.
And it's so true. Like you see a lot of athletes after the game just be like, well, I got to do something. I can't just sit here. I got to like figure out that works for me. So it's super great example of like, yes, a lot of times that's the key. Time management is a big skill you learn from
Yes. It
playing
is.
sports.
It
So,
truly is. It's the
yeah.
key. It's the key to life after sports. I promise.
You're gonna do one thing, guys. You heard it here. Time management. Take that, remember it, embrace it. You're gonna use it for the rest of your life.
You should.
Um, and, and Krystal, when you were transitioning out of sports, you seem like you always had interest in things outside of sports,
Mhm.
even when your friend was convincing you to play basketball, at a young age. What skills has sport taught you, and what have you done differently to help you transition out? Like what have you learned from sport in addition to some of those things? But what assets did you bring to the transition that was helpful in being successful and not necessarily falling into that trap of what am I going to do now?
Right. And it kind of goes to your point, like where I was, I guess the tagline now is like I was more than an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I was a part of SAC, which is like I was the president of SAC, so that was the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. But I was also part of organizations on campus. I think I was I don't know what they call it now, but it was like basically I would go and do campus tours for
Oh
people
yeah.
that are coming to the campus now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was doing that. So I was meeting other people and like connecting with people that were on campus. And then I was in different organizations and different clubs because I always knew like, well, eventually sport is going to end. Like, Kobe retired, like D Wade retired. So some of the
Mm-hmm.
greats that we grew up on, they're retiring now, or at least like I can give any example in sport, but like eventually it's going to end.
Yeah.
So how are you going to prepare yourself for that? And so I was kind of like already preparing myself, even as a college athlete. Like I didn't know when, I just knew it. So I knew I wanted to build relationships where if anything happened, I can call on the dean of education, like, hey, I'm about to apply for this. Can you write me a letter of recommendation?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, hey, I have this really great relationship with the president of the university. Hey, is it okay if you write me a letter of recommendation? Or if I put you as a reference, would you be able to
Right.
speak to my characteristics? So it's like I have been able to do that based on the relationships that I've built. And so I'm a big I guess I have a big component of like building relationships wherever I am, and then making opportunities where I am. Because again, at Henderson State University, it's nothing there. Not gonna lie, it's a Waffle House, but
Yeah.
that's about it's a Waffle House and a Walmart. But
Yeah.
it's an amazing place, and it has a small town. It is a small town, but it's like a family. And
Yeah.
so I encourage student athletes to make opportunities where you are because you never know who's going to be able to help you. Whether it is your professor, whether it's your coach, whether it's the AD, whether it's compliance, they have connections everywhere. You just have to make sure you build that relationship with them so you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully that
That's
answers your
great.
question.
No, it does. It's such great advice. And I think it's very clear that you had this perspective, not sports notwithstanding, right? You had this perspective of, I'm going to make the most of my experience, whether I play sports or not. I'm going to make the most of my connections. And I think you hit the nail on the head. When you are, especially a student athlete on campus, you have amazing access to professors, coaches, trainers, athletic department staff, all of these people that want you to succeed. And I think it's super important for athletes to understand that the relationships you build while you're playing are really important to opportunities that come to you when you're done playing. Because just like you said, hopefully you can reach out to some of these people for a letter of recommendation or a
Mm-hmm.
reference or even, job opportunities. Hey, I'd love to work while I do grad school and work at the athletic department. Would I be able to do that? I mean, that's possible, but if you don't know anyone there, why are they going to hire you over somebody else? So I think
Yes.
that's great advice. And I think, especially for aspiring entrepreneurs, relationships are the key to success. I really think
Yes.
that if you don't have a good Rolodex of people, and that's such an outdated term, but if you don't have a good LinkedIn group of people that you can message and reach out to and say, hey, here's what I'm working on. Do you know who could help me? I mean,
Yes.
that's how you get in the door a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great, great advice.
Yes.
Um, what would you want athletes to know about entrepreneurship specifically? You said not everyone's an entrepreneur earlier, but like, what are those kind of keys to success in entrepreneurship that you think that's kind of proved down this path has?
Right. I think one is your target audience, and being really niche. Because again, you aren't going to be able to sell to anybody. And what a lot of people want to do is like, oh, well, I have the next big product. or a service. I'm like, okay, well, who's your target audience? Oh, well, I can serve this people, this person, this person, this person, this person. I'm like, well, you need to find one person, because again, if you find one person that you know will buy your product, there's 100 or to 1,000 other people that will want to buy that exact same product.
Yep.
So I feel like that's number one. And then secondly is marketing, because even within my own business, I kind of struggle with marketing, and I'm getting a little better year by year. But sometimes the best song is because it was marketed. It was marketed. It's not because the song is really good. Like, again, Old Town Road, I'm not gonna lie, that was a kind of catchy song, but we probably would have known about Old Town Road if it wasn't for the marketing that he put behind it. So you also have to think about that. And then also you have to take everything day by day with entrepreneurship, because you may have a really bad year, but in 10 years, 15 years, like, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm making so much money now. Like, I have a team of people. And I try to compare entrepreneurship to like the student athlete journey, because student athletes, we work 10 to 15 years for an opportunity that is not guaranteed. It's just the fact that, like, well, it's a possibility.
Right.
And it's possible that I'll get this college scholarship. But for some cases, it's not always a guarantee. And
right.
So even with entrepreneurship, it's not a guarantee, but you're always working towards that possibility, because it's possible that you may get $1,000 paid speaking engagement for the second year. Maybe that third or fourth year is $5,000. Okay, maybe that seventh or eighth year, now you have to pay me $10,000.
Yeah.
But again, it's year by year, day by day, week by week. So you have to grind. Sometimes even within your student athlete journey, like, it's a grind to make sure that you are the best of the best. You train, you practice, you watch film, you continue to get better, and that's the same with entrepreneurship. The exact same thing. Just a little bit more like legal work and stuff like that. But legal work, accounting, taxes. But essentially, like, the work is the same. Like, the work schedule is the same. The routine is the same. So why not give it a try?
Yeah. I love that comparison. You're already doing an amazing career that it took you so long to get to. And I think that's people misunderstand about entrepreneurship. There's no such thing as overnight success or like quick hit entrepreneurship. Maybe if you get lucky with a product that can instantly go to market, but a lot of times it's a long process. So buckle up and get patient, and like, I love that day by day, like, take it every day as its own day. So that's really, really great advice. And so I know you have more to share in your launch that's going to be coming up in the fall. So I don't want you to give away too many tips of the trade here. So, but other than your launch, I know you are doing a lot of more speaking engagements. What else is coming up with you? I know you guys were talking about hosting a live event in 2021, the Life After Sports Conference. How's that going?
Life After Sports Conference is going well. We're trying to figure out if we still want to continue with it or if we still want to push it back to 2022. Because again, like, if we want 500 to 1,000 current and former student athletes, we're gonna have to figure something out with COVID. Like, me and COVID may have to make a deal and be like, hey, buddy, just stay away and then come back like July 2021. Just stop. Like, can you just stop? So that's going in the works. And then we're actually looking for, within my current VC, we're actually trying to figure out a timeline so we can do like a couple of like fireside chats with current student athletes, or not even current student athletes, but current athletes, about like them transitioning into entrepreneurship, like investing as like limited partners within like VC funds. So hopefully we'll have that in the next few months. That would be pretty cool. We'll have some really amazing speakers that were some standout athletes and professional athletes. So that's
congratulations on that opportunity, by the way. That's really, really cool. If you guys don't know what we talked about in the bio, just give everyone a really quick, I know we got to hop off here soon, but give everyone a quick rundown on what you're doing with the VC group.
So I'm a venture capitalist. I always get tongue-tied. I'm like, Krystal, why do you do that? A venture capitalist in residence at a venture capital fund in New York. It's called the W Fund. And so what we do is invest in underrepresented founders that have products that we believe in. So we invest like Series A or pre-seed to all the way to Series A. And then right now we're trying to help more athletes get access or to understand the knowledge and information as far as like investing, whether it is like investing maybe like $200 to $500 or investing like $5,000 to $10,000 to $50,000 depending on where you are,
Yeah.
depending on your budget. And so that has been a really fun ride. It's definitely a learning curve for me because it's
For sure.
definitely new information. Just a little bit. I know a little bit, but then when they started like sending me, oh, go over this, do your due diligence, and I'm like, wait, I don't know anything about this. Let me Google this real quick. Let me call some people like that are in this space and give me
Relationships, right? You got to call them as relationships. Full circle here, guys.
yes. And so one person, my brother, he's like, yeah, it used to take me about an hour and a half, and now it takes me about like 10, 15. I said, oh, well, I'm still in that 2 hour range. Like, I need to,
You're like, I'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah.
Give me some time.
Yeah, so it's been a fun ride, a fun journey. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm excited for the next few months. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on that. Congrats on Student Athletes Unite. I know we at Tackle What's Next, we love, the relationship that we're able to really, connect with student athletes. And I'm sure it's been a really great opportunity for you guys as well, to be able to support them during this time. So congrats to you. And for those athletes that might be interested in Student Athletes Unite or learning more about the W Fund you're working with, how can they follow you, engage with you, and learn more?
Yeah, so you can follow me, of course, on Instagram at Krystal Beachum. Same for LinkedIn, Twitter. What else do I have? Facebook, all those platforms. And then, of course, if you want to reach out to me, my email is actually in my Instagram bio or in the little button area. So you can always just click that, and then they can connect with me through email.
Perfect. Well, Krystal, thanks so much for being here and sharing what you're working on with us. This was really fun. Yeah, I hope everybody that's on or watches this later got a lot out of it. Make sure you follow Krystal. Make sure you check out some of her opportunities if you haven't already. And Krystal, when we're able to see people again, we got to meet up. We're local now.
Yes, we do. We do. Hopefully, maybe a couple more months, maybe.
I was going to say, hopefully sooner than later. Fingers crossed. So thank you again for all your support, Krystal. It's great to catch up.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.